will now be on the record in 23 TR 2777, State of Kansas versus Anthony Edward Dubus. Jared Regier for the state. Is Mr. Dubus present? Anthony Dubus?
I am Anthony Edward Dubus. Dubus is the English pronunciation. Dubus is the original French. And I am appearing specially in propria persona, not pro se, as sui juris.
Okay, first of all, I can't see you, so you're not here.
Parents satisfied?
Thank you, sir. Now,
absolutely.
As far as I need to go, well, I need you back here in person.
Okay, well, it's propria persona, not in person. I'm not the legal entity that you're claiming me to be.
All right, sir, if I can't get you on camera, you're not here.
I'm doing so right now. I'm just removing it as it's taped. It takes a while.
Now, the second order of business, let's get your name straight. I know a family with the same exact spelling in America, and they do pronounce it Dubus, but you said you pronounce it
Dubus, as the original Dubus, as the original French. Yep.
Very well, Dubus.
Thank you.
And here comes the fork in the road. Anthony demands to know whether this trial is happening under common law or a military tribunal. This is another sovereign classic. Force the judge into categories that don't exist. But notice the simplicity of Judge Webster's answer. This is a criminal case. End of story. No rabbit holes, no concessions, no validation of the fantasy. It's a masterclass in how judges deal with sovereigns. Don't argue the philosophy, just ground the hearing in reality. Still, Anthony keeps pressing, refusing to accept that the law is exactly what the statutes say it is. This is the sovereign. Citizens' dilemma: they can't win inside the system, so they keep pretending there's another one.
Now, Mr. Dubus appears in person and pro se.
Correction, propria persona.
Well, in this court, it's in person. And
correction, in all courts, it may be either pro se, either appear in person, or propria persona.
Well, in my years of law school and nearly 40 years of practice, both as an attorney and a judge, it's been in person, and that's what I'm going with, sir. I believe that is just fine. So in any event, we will proceed with your charges. In count one, sir, you're charged with operating a motor vehicle on a highway of this state without having a valid driver's license pursuant to KSA 8-235A. In count two, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, you did then and there unlawfully operate or attempt to operate a motor vehicle, to wit, a 2003 Honda Accord, upon a highway of the state, to wit, 1700 block of East Foxdale Street, Andover, Butler County, Kansas, while the vehicle was not registered in violation of KSA 8-142. In count three, it is alleged that on or about the 17th day of August, 2023, in Butler County, Kansas, Anthony Edward Dubus,
Thank you, Mara.
unlawfully and intentionally drive a motor vehicle upon a public highway or property open to use by the public and failed to provide proof of insurance upon demand by a law enforcement officer. Now, sir, if you had insurance when you were stopped, but just didn't have it with you or couldn't find it quickly, just provide proof to the county attorney and they'll most likely dismiss that charge. But if you really didn't have insurance, you're looking at a Class B non-person misdemeanor. The law does require a minimum fine if you're convicted of $300 up to $1,000, and it does have a possible jail sentence up to 6 months. Those are the charges.
At this point, Anthony tries the classic lack of jurisdiction play. In sovereign circles, jurisdiction is the magic word they believe, saying it strips the court of power. But look at how Judge Webster handles it. Calm, steady, and unimpressed. She simply asks where the motion was filed. Turns out Anthony emailed it, which isn't legally valid. It's like showing up to a job interview with a resume scribbled on a napkin. The judge doesn't need to debate the philosophy, she just points out the paperwork isn't even properly filed. That's the difference between theory and practice. Court runs on procedure, not internet tutorials.
Attorney. You can hire any attorney of your choice, but if you cannot afford an attorney, you can apply and see if you qualify for a court-appointed attorney. You don't have to have an attorney, though. You can waive your right to an attorney and represent yourself. So that's an order of business we need to take care of today, is whether you want an attorney or not. And then another is to make sure that you understand what the charges are and the possible penalties. Do you have any questions for me about that?
Yeah, I don't understand the nature and cause of the charges. I have not had my accuser face me to bring the charges against me, as is a violation of due process. And I want to correct, for the record of the court, the named defendant is different than the named person, being myself. Hold on, let me make sure I get that in view of the camera. The named person here is different than the one named in the charges and the counts, being a difference of representation of who exactly it is the charges are against. And it is, to my belief and knowledge, that per KAR 8243 subsection A, exemption from the motor carrier safety regulations, A, the occasional transportation of personal property by private motor carriers that is not for compensation and is not in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise. I am exempt from these rules and regulations, and if I need to get a USDOT number to show that I was not operating a commercial motor vehicle or as a common carrier for business or for profit or in the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, I will be more than happy to produce that USDOT number to show that I am in fact a private motor carrier, not operating in commerce, not driving.
Here, it is the sovereign citizen magic spell. Anthony argues that he's exempt from driving laws because he's not engaged in commerce. He cites federal transportation regulations designed for truckers and commercial carriers, then applies them to his personal Honda Accord. This is one of the most common sovereign strategies. Reframe everyday driving as if it only applies to businesses. But here's the reality. Kansas law makes no such distinction. Driving is a privilege, not a right, and you need a license too. Do it. Anthony isn't breaking new ground here. He's recycling an old internet myth that collapses the moment it's tested in real court.
Charged under the Uniform Commercial Carriers Code as adopted by the state of Kansas, you are charged just as a motorist operating a motor vehicle. Again, not a commercial vehicle. These are not laws that are subject to the commercial code or to the administrative regulation that you referred.
Although you mentioned the word operating, operating is a term used for the furtherance of a commercial enterprise, or driving, operating, the physical use or furtherance of for-profit business or for compensation.
It may under the commercial code, but not under the code otherwise. of
It is
KSA.
under Kansas, correct?
It is not under Chapter 8 of the Kansas statutes or Chapter 40, which are filed under. But we can address that at a later date at a trial or a motions hearing if necessary. But I do not see the statutory language that you're addressing being applicable to these statutes, at least preliminarily at this hearing.
It
I
is
don't-
within, sorry,
Okay.
go ahead.
That's my ruling there. And then on the name issue, I am not tracking you there. The only difference I see is that at the top of the document, state of Kansas and your name are capitalized, and in the initial or in the individual charges, it's traditional capital letter of the first name, all lowercase of the remaining names throughout. So I'm not following that argument. Again, if you want to readdress that at a later date, we can, but I'm just not seeing that argument.
Okay.
Now
Well,
then,
I motion and move this court to dismiss this case for the motion I have filed and for the brief in support of motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction.
sir, I do not have any such motion or brief in support. Mr. Regier, have you received any such documents?
This is where the case shifts from name disputes to the hard reality of criminal charges. 3 counts, no driver's license, no vehicle registration, and no proof of insurance. It's the unholy trinity of traffic violations, and all 3 are crystal clear under Kansas law. Notice how Judge Webster immediately clarifies that if Anthony had insurance but just couldn't provide it, the charge could be dismissed with proof. That's the law giving him an out, a safety net. But sovereign citizens rarely take the easy route. Instead, they dig deeper into arguments that have no traction in court, even when the legal path to leniency is wide open in front of them.
So I fail to see, at least at this juncture, how such a motion is properly brought before the court. Unless the court is aware of something that I am not aware of.
Well, that's what I'm trying to decide, if it's properly before the court. Mr. Dubois, who did you file the motion and brief with?
Well,
did
seeing as your guys' e-file is down for what is it? It's called a ransom malware or something. I cannot e-file.
Right,
so
but you can mail it or you can walk it into the clerk of the court. Have you done that?
Yes, I've mailed it. By email,
But-
which a
and I'm
court
sorry,
clerk
when I
said I could.
Okay, go ahead, please. I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're fine. It was by email, which the court clerk said I could, considering the e-file was down. And I
Alright.
can't really go 20-something miles to do that, considering my personal property was stolen.
You serious?
When
And
did you
to-
email it, sir? When did you email it?
A while ago.
Judge,
Yeah.
Yes.
we do not accept emailed filings, only faxed or by mail or person.
Okay,
I'm
I was
sorry.
told that they do not have fax, so I could not do that. So email would be okay.
He may have called the wrong courthouse then.
They
Which-
spent 10 minutes finding my case because your guys' system was down. So I'm fairly
recall
certain it was
which-
the correct one.
Okay, do you recall which you filed or which court you called?
Let me go to my sent. T Stafford at bucokansas.com.
I think that might be at the county courthouse, not the district courthouse.
Okay. So
Is
if
it?
you want,
Okay.
if you want to file something, sir, let's make sure you file it in a fashion that will get it officially recognized. So Ashley, how do you suggest he file motions and the like?
He will either need to mail us a copy of it or he can fax file.
And is your guys' fax active?
Yes, it has been the whole time.
Okay,
It's
and
not affected, yes.
what's the fax number?
Our fax number is 316-321-9486.
Okay, and my honor, I have one last question. For the nature and cause of these charges, is it a criminal or is it a civil matter?
This is a criminal matter.
Okay, as is a criminal matter, there are two jurisdictions which I may be tried. One is the common law, and the other is a military tribunal. Which of those two do you intend to try me in?
I intend to try you in this one, sir.
Which is this one? Please elaborate.
Criminal, the criminal one.
Well, criminal has two jurisdictions. It is either the common law or it is the military tribunal.
Well, sir, we're not going to go into that at this point.
Are you refusing to acknowledge to me and tell me the nature and cause of the charges?
I have told you the nature and the cause of the charges.
You are not elaborating.
I think the remaining issue, sir, is whether you're going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself.
My honor, I need to know whether or not this is going to be in the common law or a military tribunal.
Welcome back to the channel, folks. Today, we're diving straight into the world of sovereign citizens where traffic stops turn into constitutional debates, and routine hearings spiral into legal philosophy lectures. Our main character, Anthony Edward Dubuis, Dubus, depending on the pronunciation. From the very start, you'll notice he insists on correcting his name and declaring that he is appearing, especially in propria persona, translation. He believes he exists as something separate from the legal entity the court recognizes. This is Sovereign Citizen 100, one setting up a wall between their identity and the law itself.
To ask you one more time, are you going to hire an attorney, apply for court appointed, or represent yourself, sir?
Again, I'm not representing myself. I am sui juris in proper persona or propria persona.
So you're not going to have an attorney, or are you?
No, I'm not going to be presented or represented by any British agent, registrant, or anybody else to be a ward of the state. I'm standing on my rights and I do not abrogate them. And if you're going to continue to move this court without any sort of evidence, well, I guess I'll have to file that, but
We're going to set your hearing. How do you want to plead to the charges first? Then if you don't want to have an attorney, how do you want to plead to no valid driver's license?
My honor, are you attempting to administer the trust without permission and consent?
I'm asking you for your response. I'm giving you the chance to respond. Do you want to plead to this charge or not?
My honor, I don't make any pleas as I am appearing in propria persona, and any plea would submit jurisdiction to the court. I am here challenging jurisdiction under the common law as I am owed the law of peace. And this is a fraud action as fraud in the inducement from the beginning under due process violations from Deputy Khalid Barake and the other officers or sheriffs that were on scene. And if you are attempting to administer the trust without consent of myself, the living man, the grantor, in common law, which is above Admiralty maritime law, then you will be in violation of Article 3, Section 2, the trial of all crimes, except in case of impeachment, shall be jury, and such trial shall be held in a state where said crime shall have been committed, but when they are not committed with any state, the trial shall be at such place or places as the Congress may by law have directed. And as there is a difference between the Republic State Kansas before the state of Kansas was brought into the Federation of the Union of States. And you will also be in violation of I'm getting it real quick. 18 U.S. Code sections 2381, treason. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States, the corporation,